Hey class. So leaving off of the picking up from our last video, I apologize. I ran through that last step very quickly because my recording software was running out of time. So let me go back and redo that for those that may have missed that because I went through it so fast. So again, I've placed my stair. And when I go to level 2, my floor is occupying the exact same, my second floor is occupying the same space as my stair. So I can't actually use the stair. So what I need to do is I need to cut out the floor so that the stair can come up. So the way that I do that is I select the floor. And again, if you cannot select the floor, come down here to this button and make sure that the select elements by face button is allowed, that you don't have the little red X in there. So I'm going to make sure that that red X is not there, and you can simply hover over the floor, click, and it selects the floor. So now that we have the floor selected, we come up to our context sensitive modify menu, hit edit boundary, and that allows us to change the floor. And what we are simply going to do is we're going to select, I hit escape there, and then I select the line, and just like AutoCAD, I can use these handles to drag the edge of my floor. Then I'm going to come in, go back up to my modify or my draw tools and select the line tool and start where I left off there and simply trace over, and you can see that it snaps to all of these points, and that way I've cut this out of my floor. So this is the profile of my floor now. And I simply hit the green checkmark button, and now my stair can come up through my floor. So that's my stair. Now again, you won't actually see that if you go to 3D view. One way to sort of look inside of your 3D view is without anything selected. I'm looking at my properties of my 3D view. I can click on this section box button, and what that does is it gives me this box here that I can then select, and then I can simply use these handles to cut. So basically each side of this box is a cut plane, and I can grab this handle and move the cut plane to the inside of my house. And you can see that the stair goes up the wall, or goes up this through the floor, I should say. So you don't have to do that. I was just showing you how you could see inside of your building. So now essentially our building is done. The only step left now is to print this 3D view. So I'm going to turn that section box off actually, because I don't want that in my current 3D view. I'm going to rotate to meet the final deliverable. This is close enough. Some sort of view like this where I'm looking at, well, look at that. My window is back to where it was. I undid too many levels. So let me change that to the right sill height, which is 7 feet. So this is the view I want. So now I need to put this on a title block. So Revit does not have sheet space and paper space like AutoCAD. It does have sheets though. So it's kind of like paper space and model space, but we have views and sheets. So these are our views that we use to work, but we can place these views onto a sheet. So what we want to do is come down to in our project browser, we want to come down to Sheets category. But we don't have any sheets. So what we want to do is right click and say New Sheet. That opens up the New Sheet dialog. And you can see that it says select a title block. Well, the default that's loaded is a 30 by 42 title block. We don't want that. We want an 11 by 17. So again, if the type you want is not in your drawing, you have to load one. So we're going to hit load. And just like loading any other family, a title block is simply another type of family. So we're currently in the Windows folder. We want to go up to US Imperial, scroll down till we find title blocks. And there we go. We've got B-sized 11 by 17 title blocks. So we're going to open that. And that loads that in here, and it selects it. And now we can say, OK, and it creates a blank sheet. And now if we expand by pressing the plus arrow, the sheets, we'll see that we have this unnamed sheet. So how do we get this view onto our sheet? Well, it's pretty simple. Open up your sheet and simply click and drag that view onto your sheet. And it's going to give you this box, which is the view. I'm going to place it centered. Now, this is kind of a quirky thing, so you'll just have to follow me here. It's a little small. Default 3D views have a scale, which is weird because it's a 3D view. It shouldn't really have a scale, but it does. So if we go back to our 3D view, and we go to our view control bar, you'll see that its default is 1/8 inch. Well, let's just set that to 1/4 inch. And now let's go back to our sheet, and voila, it's bigger. We can move our view down. Now we simply have to change a few things. For owner, you put your own name, and actually this should all be caps. For the project name, we'll call this Revit Introduction. I forget what I have on the final deliverable. I think I might have something different. It doesn't really matter. The sheet name, we'll call it Revit Introduction. We'll leave the sheet number the same. Now, if I double click that, it activates my view. That's not what I want. So I'm going to double click out. You cannot change this here. It automatically names it whatever the view is named. So I have to come over to my project browser, right click on the view and say rename. And again, I'm going to call this Revit Introduction. That's fine. I'm not going to get technical on all these names. So Revit Introduction. And you can see that this symbol is tied back to this. Again, everything in Revit is connected to something else. So by just simply renaming the view, it automatically renames your drawing title. Now, the only thing left to do is print. And what we are going to do is, I always use the Control P shortcut. You could go to the print button on your quick access. You could go to file print. There's multiple ways. Now, you're going to find the printer that you want. Right now, I'm just going to use this print to PDF. Now, it is imperative that you follow this next step. The default settings for Revit do not make sense. They are fit to page. And if you click this setup button, we come in here and we're going to set our page size to tabloid or legal, or not legal, tabloid or 11 by 17 landscape. Now, the zoom, we do not want to fit to page because we want this to be full-sized. Now, again, this is not an actual 2-scale drawing, but this will matter when we actually create some. So I want to go over that now. We click on zoom, and you should always be printing at 100% size. You should also always center it, because for some reason when you change it from fit to page to zoom, it makes it offset from corner, but we want to center that. Hit OK, and it'll print your file. Actually, no, sorry. Hit OK, and it'll save your settings. And as always, I check my print preview. That looks good. You can hit print, and you'll be finished. And that's how we print. That's how we create a sheet, put a view on a sheet, and then print our work. And this one image is all that's due for this week.